Guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. This is Driven by Boost, and no, we are not in the Golf R.
Seriously, what the f?
Actually, kind of excited to show you guys, but we're actually in a 2019 B9 S4. It's Glacier White, black optics package with the Red Magma interior, guys. This car looks killer. I'm super happy with it. So before we get going, let's go see the car.
I hit record a drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm performing, never boring, now you can't afford it. Champagne Perrier, finish friends on my face. Looking like I'm from the D. D's no Cartier. Pockets deep, 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 bro. I can make it in my seat, bro. Do you, I'm doing me, bro. Making noise, use a beat, bro. Whoa, whoa. I press the button and the doors go up like, whoa. That money clip us now, the new now looks like, whoa. Upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like, whoa, 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 whoa. Neighborhood on the scene, neighborhood on the strip.
Guys, I just want to say, don't worry. The golf content on the channel will not be going away. Got a couple buddies with some IS38 GTIs, couple Stage 3Rs that are still going to be on the channel, so don't worry. We're still going to put that content out. Now we're just going to be adding the S4 to the mix, so I'm super excited to be having this car. You know, guys, it's quite the step up, and I'm really appreciating it right now. So don't worry if you guys have subbed for the golf content, because I promise you guys we're going to be putting a lot more continued content in that category. Right off the bat, guys, I am so impressed with the digital gauge cluster that the S4 comes with, that most of the Audi S lines and performance models have in their cars. It's a beautiful display at night, during the day. It's just fantastic to look at. It just makes it kind of feel more of a race car with that high-end digital display. It's beautiful. It's easy to read at. I love Google Maps GPS display that is right over to the left of the speed cluster. All the dials, all the knobs, there's just a certain amount of precision to them. There's just this real nice tactile feel. There's a satisfactory sound, a click with each individual button press, each individual movement. There's just a purposeful sound and noise. You can tell that everything he made here was just of quality, guys. It is quite an impressive cockpit to be in. You know, the Golf R was an impressive vehicle in itself, but the S4 and with Audi, it just takes that level just one more higher. You know, it brings it up into that premium quality, and you can really tell the difference. Another thing that's pretty crazy about this car is that it has these beautiful red Wingback S sport seats, and not only do they hold you and you can change the side bolsters to whatever you want, they also provide massages, so you can be ripping around in a sports car and getting your back massaged and your butt heaters on, and it feels great. So this car, it has it all. It has the sport, it has the luxury, it's spacious. So we're gonna take it for a little ride. I'm gonna give my first impressions on how I think it drives. We'll talk about the engine, and it's brand new, so I'm barely breaking it in right now. So it's gonna be a fun process. So we'll take it for a ride, guys. I'll share with you guys my first impressions. All right, guys. Let us fire up the car. We're gonna take it for a ride. All right, so first things first, let's talk about the engine. This is Audi's 3.0 V6 single scroll turbo. And it makes very good power right off the bat. I think it makes peak torque around 1300 RPMs. And it's super quick when you're just driving around normally. I mean, you can feel the responsiveness from the turbo. It's very engaging. It feels quicker than the Golf R, but not necessarily faster up top, because the Golf R had a little more power, being big turbo and all, but this car feels very, very fast. It doesn't feel as big as it actually is. It's the same dimensions as a Ford Mustang GT, which I thought was pretty interesting, and it's about I think about a little less than a foot longer than the A series platform for Audi, and a little less than a foot than the Golf platform as well. So the steering wheel is beautiful. It's a leather wrapped, red stitched steering wheel. It feels great. I don't know if I'm gonna upgrade it. It is heated as well. You press this button here and it turns it on up here, and you can see. But every button, every dial, I mean, like I said before, guys, there's such a great feeling, such a tactile feeling. It doesn't feel fake, doesn't feel cheap. Everything you touch just feels quality. So right now I have it set in dynamic mode. The one thing that I do not like about this car is that it has the auto start and stop feature, and that's found right here. So I always just click that off whenever I get in the car right away. I'm sure there's a tune I can eventually get that'll just turn that off completely, but it does have the auto stop and auto start, and I believe when you have traction control off and in sport mode, it doesn't do that regardless, so that's kind of nice. So it is mated to the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission. Now this car does have a torque converter, so it's not a dual clutch. Audi got rid of the dual clutches for this generation, and then what's good about the ZF is that it can hold a lot more torque. So Audi needed way more torque for the engine for this platform, so they use the ZF transmission. And I found, guys, going back from the dual clutch to a ZF automatic, it is so smooth. It's ridiculously smooth. So let's get going. We'll get going driving. It's got this weird shifter here. I'm not used to it yet, but you got to press in this side button, then you tap it down once into drive, tap it down in second in dynamic, and we'll get going. So with the ZF automatic, guys, it is a very smooth ride. Every shift, it's purposeful. And it doesn't feel sluggish or sloppy. It feels just as quick as the dual clutch did. It's pretty close to it. I mean, maybe you can tell it's slightly slower, but I mean, guys, if you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't know. When I test drove the car, I actually thought it had a dual clutch in here, which was pretty crazy. All right, well, this does have the sport exhaust that it comes with, so I'll roll down the windows, we'll check it out. Someone was telling me that sport exhaust is actually designed by Akrapovic. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Maybe someone can source it out for me, but it does sound pretty good in dynamic. And it actually does have little pops and bangs too, which I thought is kind of cool. So I don't really, you know, coming from a 4-cylinder to a 6-cylinder turbo, the added noise, even though it's a stock exhaust, is nice. It's very nice. It's very satisfying to the ears. Let's talk about the brakes, guys. This does have the sport package, so it does come with the Audi Sport Brakes. They do paint the calipers red and then have the nice Audi Sport badging on them. They look beautiful, guys, and they stop very, very well. Compared to my fellow racing brakes, they do have that same initial bite up top, but it's a steady, gradual pull all throughout the entire feeling of the brake pedal. There's no deadness, there's no slop or soft feeling. You press it, you get a firm engagement, and it really bites back at you, which is really nice coming from a stock brake point of view. Don't foresee myself upgrading these brakes in the future at any point in time. Nope, little pop there, and that was kind of nice. Alright, let's roll the windows up. Alright, another thing that I want to bring up about this car, guys, is its chassis. The chassis on this car is phenomenal. When I first took this car for a ride, I gave it some throttle in the corners, and this actually has the Audi Sport rear differential, and it can send amount of power to either side of the rear wheels, pushing you harder through the turns. So before, I was used to the front wheel drive Haldex system, which was a great system. It wasn't bad, it did what it needed to do, but it always had that front wheel drive bias. And then you hop in a real quattro system like the S4 has, and I don't want to hate on the Golf at all, but the quattro, the real quattro that is in this car is outstanding. It is so confident, inspiring in the way you drive that the harder you push it, the better the car feels. And it's such a weird feeling coming from the Haldex to a true quattro. So I'm very, very happy from that standpoint. It's just a good feeling to push this car, and it rewards you in the turns as you do so. So, I mean, for tuning potential wise, I think APR recently just cracked the ECU code for the platform, for the B9s, and they were pushing on stage 1 tune, E85, they were reported 480 horsepower and say 546 foot-pounds of torque. I think that sounds about right, which is pretty impressive for just a stage 1 tune. So I'm kind of excited to see where stage 2 can take us with this car. I know the future is hybrid turbos, and I saw some forums online overseas, guys are putting hybrid turbos. They're making well over 550 wheel, and they're peaking around 700 plus foot-pounds of torque, which is just crazy because that's diesel territory. I mean, this car is making diesel torque, which has got to feel insane. So I'm excited for the future tuning prospects of this car. Yeah, I mean, the 6 is just such a smooth sounding engine. Very, very happy with it. Very little body roll in the corners. You can feel the rear wheels engage, pushing you through, sending the power out there. It's riding on magnetic dampeners, so it's mag ride, which gives it's a good feeling. I've never had a mag ride car before, but it feels like a coilover, like an aggressive coilover air ride hybrid. So it has that kind of like real soft, floaty feeling over bumps like the air ride did, but it gives you that firm sensation of when you're, have a very aggressive coilover setup, which is awesome. I'm in love with it. I think it's a very good setup. We'll see what I want to do in the future for suspension, but so far the mag ride is it's just great. So we got a little over 500 miles on here, boys, and we just started getting little pops and bangs going on in the exhaust. When I first took it out, maybe a lot less than 100 miles, I was giving it, soft ride, not pushing it too hard, trying to break in the engine. We weren't getting too many pops and bangs, but as we're continuing to break it in, the exhaust is getting broken in, everything's getting worked, and we're getting some great pops and bangs on a stock system. So it makes me super excited to see what an aftermarket system would do and what it opens up. And the exhaust, it sounds very similar to the BMW inline 6 at certain RPMs, and then at other RPMs it sounds like a Nissan GTR. When you get past 3 to 4, it's got that like almost that VQ 6-cylinder sound. I don't know if you guys could hear that at all, how much you can pick up, but it's a good sound. It's a good, healthy 6-cylinder sound, so I'm very excited for it. Alright guys, that is going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment below what you guys want to see for the first mod for our B9 S4. Definitely let me know. So guys, thanks again for watching, and we will definitely see you guys on the next one. Thanks, bye.
Pockets deep, bro. I can make it in my seat, bro. Do you, I'm doing me, bro. Making noise, use a beat, bro. Whoa, whoa.